Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. The Founding Fathers. I sentence you. First names. Women writers. 80s music. And You're So Subtractive. Player one, you start us off. In early April of 1775, William Dawes, Samuel Prescott, and this man rode to warn patriots to move military stores from Concord. Yes, player one? Good for you. Please pick again, player one. 3 years after writing the Declaration of Independence, he succeeded Patrick Henry as Virginia governor. It's player one.
Yeah!
Right. Player one, you pick again, please. On July 3rd, 1776, he wrote to his wife Abigail that the colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. Okay, player one. That is correct. We return to you, player one. Jimmy?
A 1775 letter from this founding father to the Pennsylvania Journal is thought to have inspired the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Okay, player one. That is correct. You again, player one. In Public Good, this pamphleteer called for Virginia to cede land needed to form a strong central government. Player one? That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
We return to you, player one. It's used in abbreviations and initials as well as to end sentences. Yes, player one? Correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Please pick again, player one. Burton Braley contradicted himself and wrote, "This is a word you mustn't end a sentence with." Yes, player one? Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the correct response. A preposition. We return to you, player one. Of I did it, did you do it, or do it, it's the imperative sentence. It's player one. Yes. Player one, you pick again, please. This type of sentence has multiple independent clauses and no dependent clauses. Player one? Correct. Player one, back to you for our next selection. The name of this punctuation mark comes from a Greek word meaning piece cut off. It's player one. That's not it. The correct response is the comma. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Wild Bill Hickok's real first name was James. This was Buffalo Bill CODY'S. The correct response is William. Player one, pick again. Jennifer is a form of this other first name made famous by King Arthur's wife. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
Correct. Player one, pick again. It's the Daily Double. And you have the lead. So what's your wager? Answer this. This first name, like that of the guy who married Medea, is from a Greek word for healer. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the correct response. Jason. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. This first name of Miss Marple's creator comes from a word that means good. Here's the response we were looking for. Agatha. Player 1, you pick again, please. As a verb, this first name means to send mail free of charge. We're talking about Frank. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Troubled by the fugitive slave law of 1850, she wrote what became an immediate bestseller. Okay, Player 1. Yep. We return to you, Player 1. This author created the vampire Lestat, the bad boy of the blood-sucking world. We're talking about Anne Rice. Select again. Not published until 2004, Suite Française is by Irene Nemirovsky, who died in this concentration camp in 1942. Here's what we wanted. Auschwitz. Player 1, back to you. It was curtains for Hercule Poirot in her 1975 mystery, Curtain. We're talking about Agatha Christie. Player 1, back to you. She wrote the 1970 novel Play It As It Lays and the 2011 memoir Blue Nights. Here's what we wanted. Joan Didion. Player 1, back to you. The Greg Kihn Band was singing our song, crooning, "Our love's in this, baby." Yes, Player 1? Yes. Please pick again, Player 1. In 1984, his Let's Go Crazy said, "We are gathered here today to get through this thing called life." Here's what we were looking for. Prince. Player 1, choose again. She told us, "Love is a battlefield," and in 1980 went to number 9 with "Hit Me With Your Best Shot." Let's hear it, Player 1. That's not it. Here's the response we were looking for. Pat Benatar. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. In 1981, Sheena Easton sang, "My baby takes the this. He works from 9 till 5, and then he takes another home again." Here's the correct response. The Morning Train. Please pick again, Player 1. Well, I talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Lip Sync asked, "Won't you take me to here?" Here's the correct response. Funky Town. Please pick again, Player 1. It's 237 minus 113. Player 1? Yeah! That's it. Please pick again, Player 1. 117 minus 47 minus 10 equals this. It's Player 1. Yeah. That's right. Way to go. You get to pick again, Player 1. 99 minus 55 minus 33 minus 11 equals this. Let's hear it, Player 1. Yeah. Good. We return to you, Player 1. 1127 minus 121 minus 116 equals this. Okay, Player 1. No, that's not right. Here's what we wanted. 890. And here's the $1,000 clue. From the Latin for diminish, it's the term for a number from which another number is subtracted. Okay, player one. No. Here's what we wanted. The minuend. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. We start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. Have you ever seen the like? Notice the quotation marks on like. Geometry, movie folk, biblical warriors, historic names, and statues. All right, if you're ready, it's Double Jeopardy time. 5-word phrase repeated by Dorothy Gale when clicking her heels together in The Wizard of Oz. Player one? Good for you. You get to pick again, player one. 3-word cliche used of exotic food. Ramona said it about rat on The First Survivor. Here's the correct response. Tastes like chicken. Player one, you pick again, please. In all this, the state or fact of being probable. Yes, player one? No. Here's what we were looking for. Likelihood. You get to pick again, player one. Doppelganger. We're talking about a look-alike. Player one, back to you. Answer. The first of the daily doubles. You are in first place. Decide on your wager, player one. Okay, here is the clue. Ovine. That's it. Select again. The Pythagorean theorem. The square of this of a right triangle equals the sum of the squares of the two other sides. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
Hey, you're right. Please pick again, player one. The formula for this measure of a pyramid is 1/3 of base times height. Yes, player one? No, that's not right. The correct response is volume. Player one, back to you for our next selection. The term for this type of triangle comes from the Greek for with equal legs. Yes, player one? Good. Select again. It's a line or segment that touches a circle at exactly 1 point. Yes, player one? Yeah, good. Select again. Let's go over to Sarah.
A pair of angles that add together to make a right angle are known as this type of angle.
Player one? No, that's not right. Here's the correct response. Complementary. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Rejected by USC Film School, this S in DreamWorks SKG now sits on the film school's board of counselors. The correct response is Steven Spielberg. Select again. Jerry Maguire was originally written for Tom, not Cruise, but him. Here's the response we were looking for. Tom Hanks. Select again. He majored in journalism at Fordham before playing a newspaper reporter in The Pelican Brief. Here's the correct response. Denzel Washington. You again, player one. Answer. The other daily double. You are in first place. Decide on your wager, player one. Okay, here is the clue. This actor got his name by giving his mom a fetal kick while she viewed a Da Vinci work. Right you are. Select again. To get orc war screams for The Lord of the Rings, this director put phonetic yells on a scoreboard for 25,000 cricket fans. Here's the response we were looking for. Peter Jackson. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Joshua's conquest of Canaan began with the taking of Jericho, a city in this river's valley. Okay, Player 1. Right. Player 1, back to you. Saul and this son, who shares his name with a famous seagull, both died at the Battle of Mount Gilboa. Player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the correct response. Jonathan. Player 1, you pick again, please. Later lending his name to a popular hotel Bible, he led a successful night attack against the Midianites. Player 1? Yes. Player 1, you pick again, please. Joab was this Israelite king's successful commander when he conquered Jerusalem around 1000 BC. Let's hear it, Player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's what we were looking for. David. You again, Player 1. This female judge won an important battle against the Canaanites by luring them into marshland. Here's the correct response. Deborah. Select again. In 1955, Ngo Dinh Diem became the first president of this country that no longer exists. Here's the correct response. South Vietnam. Player 1, back to you. This Apache tried to keep peace with the Palefaces, but after his death, his son joined with the militant Geronimo. Here's the response we were looking for. Cochise. You get to pick again, Player 1. In 312, emboldened by the sight of a cross in the sky, this man defeated the Emperor Maxentius and seized Rome. Here's the correct response. Constantine. You again, Player 1. Margaret Roper, who died in 1544, is said to have been buried with the head of this Utopia author, her father. Here's the correct response. Thomas More. You again, Player 1. Vienna's imperial palace is now home to the president. In Mozart's time, it was home to the head of state, this archduchess. Here's the correct response. Maria Theresa. Player 1, back to you. The sower atop Nebraska's state capitol in this city is tossing seeds to the Great Plains 400 feet below. We're talking about Lincoln. Player 1, back to you. Blue Earth, Minnesota has a definitely giant 55-foot statue of this pea pusher. Here's the response we were looking for. The Jolly Green Giant. We return to you, Player 1. Sam Houston stands 67 feet tall along Interstate 45 in this state. Let's hear it, Player 1. Correct. You get to pick again, Player 1. Here's Jimmy from our Clue Crew with the clue.
A statue of this discoverer of Florida stands near the street named for him in St. Augustine.
Here's the correct response. Ponce de Leon. And the last clue for $2,000. In 2003, a statue of this man was pulled down just a year after it had gone up to mark his 65th birthday. Here's what we were looking for. Saddam Hussein. You will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. Here's today's Final Jeopardy category. 19th century authors. Please enter your wager. And the clue reads, in 1833, a French historian said that this author had built a cathedral as solid as the foundations of the other one. What did you say? And that correct response will add... Congratulations, Player One. You're the winner. So long.